Hi, welcome to another Tea Time Top Tip. This week we are asking and answering the question, why does it take so long for me to design training? Yesterday I gave quite a long explanation as to why you might feel that it's taking you too long. Today it's going to be a bit of a shorter one, and it's an actual reason as to why it might be taking you too long. And I don't know if any of you've got kids or you can remember seeing the film Cars, where Doc Hudson advised Lightning McQueen, sometimes you've got to turn left to turn right. And it's a similar thing here. Sometimes, in order to save time, we need to actually do more work. The reason for this is a lot of training designers start too soon. They start before they're properly ready to start the design work. And what I mean by that is we can get very caught up in an idea, we can get very enthusiastic about what it is we want to create. And so we set off at 100 miles an hour, getting all these brilliant ideas down. But because we're starting before we've properly thought it through, we can end up developing brilliant ideas that ultimately don't make the final cut for all sorts of reasons. One is that we haven't actually got approval from our stakeholders that what we've got in our head is what they want. So they will come along part way through the process and say, oh, but we need to cover that and we need to cover that, and why are you covering that? So that's one thing. So that's a whole piece on stakeholder management, which I'm not going to go into today. The other reason that we may end up creating lots of great stuff that doesn't make the final cut is that we end up going down rabbit holes. So we follow our instinct, we follow our interests, we get caught up with something, and we think, oh, that's brilliant, yeah, let's look into that, let's include that. And then by the time you've actually looked at everything that you want to include, you've either gone way off where you should be going, or frankly, you've just got too much. So you have to cut a lot of it out, and that takes time. So it's very important, I think, that we clarify what it is we're actually doing. And it goes back to the first tip about having that top level scoping. I always create a one-page outline. That is something that can be approved by stakeholders, and it acts as a route map for yourself when you're actually designing the training. Now, with that simple outline, there's still some scope in there for you to add a little bit of creativity or maybe include a little bit of something else, but you're not going to go so far off plan that you end up having to cut a load of it out. And I think that's why sometimes it ends up taking far too long. And I've seen it many times with subject matter experts. They've been given a half a day to cover something. So they spend ages putting down everything they know about the subject. And then they end up having to cut half of it out because there simply isn't time to cover it. So we spend all that time on design and then you end up cutting a load out. So that's my tip for today. Borrowed from Doc Hudson, turn left to turn right. Add in an extra step of training design, which is that outline, that route through that can be approved before you actually start designing in detail. And just taking an hour or two to do that can potentially save you days as you go through your training design. So that's it for today, a bit shorter. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to have another Tea Time Top Tip, still answering this question, why does it take so long for me to design training?